We got a big-time report that we need to talk about right here, right now on Knicks Media, because Shams just reported something that Knicks fans need to be aware of, because this is definitely very interesting as the NBA season is right around the corner. We're going to break down this report, so make sure you buckle up, but more importantly, let me know your thoughts in the comments about this report from Shams. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to Knicks Media. If you're new here, we are fired up for Knicks basketball to be back in action, baby. Let's get straight into the report and not waste any more time. So, if you did not see what the report is, basically, Giannis Antetokounmpo wanted to become a New York Knick. And when all the stuff was going on in the summer of Giannis potentially leaving the Bucks, the only team that Giannis told the Bucks he was interested in was the New York Knicks, which eventually led to the Knicks and the Bucks engaging in a trade conversation. Okay, obviously it did not materialize into anything as the Knicks are about to start off the regular season in just 2 weeks and there was no trade, but this is something that you may have to keep an eye on as the season progresses and the next few seasons progresses, because the Knicks were engaged in conversations with the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's get deeper into the exact report. Here it is from Shams. The Knicks and Bucks engage in trade talks for Giannis Antetokounmpo in August when the two-time MVP and his representatives told Milwaukee that the Knicks were the only other team he had interest in playing for. As Shams said, the Bucks picked up the Knicks' call on Antetokounmpo, and the sides engaged in conversations for a window of time in August, league sources said, but the teams never got traction on a deal. The Bucks insisted to the Knicks that they preferred not to move Antetokounmpo, but those in Milwaukee believe New York did not make a strong enough offer to continue even discussing a trade, league sources said. It's unclear how the Bucks would have responded to an all-out chase by the Knicks. The multi-week process was described by one source with direct knowledge of the talks as an exclusive negotiating window. New York, for its part, believes the Bucks never were serious about entertaining an Giannis Antetokounmpo trade, sources said. So there's a lot to unpack from this report. First thing that we have to mention is that Giannis told the Bucks, if I'm not playing with you guys, the only other team I want to play for is the Knicks. Now, that's important here because that Leon Rose, Leon is in his head hearing that, like, okay, Giannis wants to play for us. I'm going to do, at least due diligence and call Milwaukee and make some type of offer. But obviously the Bucks were not interested in entertaining an offer, and the Knicks, I guess, were not as interested as you would think, because if they really wanted Giannis, they would have went all in and probably offered the moon, but they did not do that. The Knicks probably just started negotiating with, surface level offers, because let's be honest, man, a trade for Giannis would be nuclear. I mean, you talk about, the Karl-Anthony Towns trade was massive. The Knicks had to give up, Randall and Dante and some picks. But this trade for Giannis would have been massive. It would have been even bigger. You're talking about an NBA champion, a two-time MVP. This is a trade that would have been a blockbuster that the Knicks would have had to give up like half the roster and a lot of draft picks in the future. And the whole roster would look completely different than it is right now. But this is where the Knicks are right now. And I just want to take a moment and appreciate something real quick. Giannis, who is an NBA champion, who is a two-time MVP, the only organization that Giannis would play for besides his own organization in the Milwaukee Bucks is the Knicks. I mean, let's not take that for granted, Knicks fans. The Knicks used to be a team that absolutely nobody wants to go to, and now we are an attractable destination. Now, Giannis is not a Knick. This is not about me saying, oh, we got to go after Giannis. No, I'm excited for the season. I love the roster that we got. I think this Knicks team is built to be a championship contender this season, even without Giannis. But I just want to take a moment and appreciate that the roster and the organization that Leon Rose has built has now became an attractable destination for a superstar like Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because I remember where this Knicks team was 5, 7, 8 years ago when we were just a laughingstock. Nobody wanted to come here. The Knicks were just used to get money from guys that are washed up. And now we have guys like Giannis that is actively saying, if I'm not going to stay here where I was drafted, where I won a championship, and I want my first change of scenery in my NBA career, that's the team I want to go to, the New York Knicks. That's pretty cool, man. I'm not going to lie. That is pretty cool. Now, my big thing here, too, is Giannis mentioned he wants to go to the Knicks, but the Bucks they were never interested in trading Giannis. So I think that's another reason why the Knicks did not even entertain it in terms of really going all in and, figuring out an all-in approach. Because you look at this Knicks roster, as great as a Giannis trade would be, there's a lot of pros and cons for going after Giannis, because the core that the Knicks got right here, with OG and Bridges as your two wings, with Cat and Robinson as your front court, with Brunson as the face of this franchise, with the bench that we got, I would argue it would gut the depth that what makes this Knicks team special going after a guy like Giannis. And then, listen, Giannis is an NBA champion. He would literally level up this Knicks team to championship heights. But there's a lot that the Knicks would have had to give up. And I'm sure there's some Knicks fans that will probably be like, yeah, you know what? I'd rather not go after Giannis. Not because Giannis is a bad player or anything, just because of the offer the Knicks would have to sacrifice in order to get this deal done. But this also mentioned something in my brain where, it fell through in August, but if the Bucks start to go down south a little bit this season and you get into the trade deadline, this tells you something. This is not something that is just going to die. This is not something that, we know how basketball works. If you're an NBA fan, you know that the league of basketball, the NBA, out of any league, NFL, NHL, MLB, it's built for superstars like this getting traded when you least expect it. Raise your hand right now when you're watching if you saw Luka Doncic getting traded in the middle of the season to the Los Angeles Lakers. Nobody saw that coming. That was the craziest moment of all time. Now, I'm not going to sit here and predict the Knicks to land Giannis in the middle of the season at the deadline, but I'm just going to say, after this report, it is a possibility. Just from this standpoint, if Giannis gets frustrated and he's talking to his own organization, Milwaukee, and he's like, you know what, I want out of here, and you got to trade me, and he's doing it behind closed doors. It's not public information. Similar to the Luka situation. Nobody knew Luka was about to get traded until it actually happened. What if Leon is in the shadows all season, just working on a trade, figuring out the perfect puzzle piece, and then all of a sudden, in January or February, the Knicks blockbuster news, they land Giannis. Now, I am not predicting that. I am just creating this scenario just because of this report, because I'm telling you this, if Giannis does want out, it's obvious that the Knicks are the destination. He did not mention any other team but the Knicks. It's not like he was also interested in going to the Heat or the Lakers or whatever team. He did not mention any team but the Knicks. Now, obviously, he can change his mind. Maybe there's a team out there he's be interested in going to. But if Milwaukee falls off a cliff this year and they're not competitive, and Giannis is like, you know what? I'm trying to be loyal. I won my championship. I want out. I really do wonder if Leon Rose and the Knicks do get aggressive and go out there and try to go all in. Now, on one hand, we have to have a whole separate conversation. Would that be smart by the Knicks? What if the Knicks, by January, the first seed in the East, and we're just amazing? Why would we trade for Giannis? Let's just keep the continuity. Let's keep the core together. Let's go win a chip that way. And I think that's a really, really, mind-blowing situation to even be in as a Knicks fan. I know some people are used to this winning, and we haven't done anything in terms of a championship, but I still remember this Knicks team just being awful for years and years and years. And the fact that we're thinking to ourselves, yeah, we're too good for Giannis is just wow, what a time to be a Knicks fan, right? So definitely let me know your thoughts, guys, about this whole situation. Definitely some interesting news to see this morning on October 7th. Don't forget to check out Sleeper, folks. Sleeper Picks is a really fun parlay, and I'm really excited to be playing with Sleeper when the basketball season comes around. You guys can get $20 for free right now if you use my code KNICKS. The link is at the top of the description, folks. We're going to be making a bunch of parlays over there on Sleeper when the NBA season kicks off. Of course, you can use that right now for the NFL season that is in full action right now. So make sure you guys go check them out. Proud sponsor of Knicks Media all throughout the season. So a big time shout out to Sleeper, as always, for sponsoring Knicks Media. And don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comments about this whole situation. I'm sure there's some Knicks fans that don't want Giannis. I'm sure there's Knicks fans who be like, you got to do everything you can to get Giannis. Wow, this is a very interesting blockbuster report from Shams. So definitely feel free to let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit the like button if you did not already. Let's go Knicks, folks. Knicks basketball is here, baby. Let's go.